So our next panel, economy and business are at the heart of all societies. And like all people, Aboriginal people are economic beings. As land and sea ownership has returned to the hands of the original owners, First Nations peoples are entering into the mainstream and the economy of Australia and the world. The following session reflects reality on this engagement in Northeast Arnhem Land and the Northern Territory. The speakers represent key corporations that are crucial to the futures of the economy of the Northeast Arnhem Land and the Territory. Klaus Helms is the CEO of the Gumatj Corporation, which leads the economic agenda for the Gumatj and the region. Kellie Parker is the CEO of Rio Tinto Australia and the key driver of at present of economic activity in Northeast Arnhem. Jonathan McLeod is the Deputy CEO of the Northern Land Council and First Nations man from the Victoria River region and the Torres Strait. And Jawa is here and would like to say a few words. Please make them all feel welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's better. I just want to talk about the two CEOs and Northern Land Council block here. Just a brief kind of a history and how we did about going in towards building our future business with Rio Tinto. Back in 2011 or 10, we signed a Garma agreement with Rio Tinto. Prime Minister Julia Gillard was here, and it opened up doors for the two main landowners, the Gumatj and the Redijingo, and found, that we were getting more of our people employed through what was going to happen in the future, in a way. But signing that agreement was the best thing that ever happened to our people. The former mining company wouldn't let us reach an agreement. And the two CEOs, we, as a chairperson for Gumatj Corporation, I work closely with both of them and a representative from the Northern Land Council. So, to cut it short, Klaus and I have known each other when Klaus first came to this part of the country, about 60, 70 years ago, Klaus? And the rest is history. But, we managed to get him, but he's like good value to us. Miss Kellie Parker, the CEO of Rio Tinto Australia. I am very fortunate that I sit on the advisory group that gives advice to Rio Tinto. So, please, let's hear it from the two CEOs and the representative from Northern Land Council. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not really good at this sort of thing, so I'm going to not bore you to death. I'm going to show you some videos. Rather than talk about what we do, I'm going to show you what we do. Some of it is a bit surprising, so I don't want to hope you're not too upset, because we do progress life a lot. But before we do start the first video, I want you to absorb what's in the videos, what we're trying to do. This is all with the agreements of the traditional owners. This is working with the traditional owners to make this happen. If we don't do this and we're not on the ball of getting it done in time, we're going to find ourselves in trouble. Mines close all over the world. Now, normally when a mine closes, there are effects, and there's no difference here. We will see major effects in Northeast Arnhem Land. It will happen. So we've got to prepare ourselves. We've at least got a window now where we can do this. We've got funding coming in. We've got a good attitude with their boards, and they want to progress. And I think, and you'll see with the video, we're going to do a pull down. Very quickly, we're going to do a pull down of the plant pull down, a pull down of what we're doing in the plant, of what we're doing with our mining, of what we're doing with some other little things you probably won't be happy with. But in general terms, we're looking at the future. All of this is with traditional owners' agreement. All of this is with traditional owners' board. This is not the CEO telling them what to do. This is the CEO, the board, telling the CEO, this is where we want to go. And that's what we do. So, before we start, North East Arnhem region is approaching a time where significant change is happening. The end of Rio is coming near. The Gumatj traditional owners are committed to deliver to diversified post-mining economics in which increases the jobs for the Yungal and creates prosperity for the traditional owners. Supporting the region and population which is the sustainable service for their community. And it's not just our community, just don't think Gumatj here. If we don't do this, we're going to start affecting all the communities around us. It doesn't matter whether it's Lena, Rio Tinto, whether it's Gulkula, whether it's Gumatj, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be affected. So I'm going to start the first little video, and while I'm talking, we'll go through, signalling my man there. He's not giving me a switch, by the way, he does it all. Doesn't trust me. A little bit of Rio Tinto propaganda to begin with, nice red lettering. That was mine. Now, normally Java has actually overwritten this in language, but it's pointless giving it to you people, so I'm just going to do it in silent language when I talk about it. So the refinery pull-down, mining industry contributes to about 50% of the economic activity in the East Arnhem region. Almost 20% of all jobs in the region are linked to mining in some way or the other. Mining royalties play a crucial part in enabling the traditional owners to establish sustainable businesses for post-mining activities. These royalties will cease when bauxite extraction finishes. I'm not going to go into the royalty numbers, but understand this. There are statutory royalties and then there are mining agreement royalties, right? But they all affect all of us. Traditional owners, if we're looking at the finished time of the plant, what we're trying to do is look at what we can utilise in the plant. We look at, can we use the fuel tanks? Can we use the warehousing? Can we use the ports to say and hold? There are a couple of caveats. Do I need the environmental issues if they're not good? No. But if we let them get pulled down and we don't have a usage, then we've got nothing and we'll never rebuild it. So right now we're looking at ports, warehousing, administration building, the roadways, but also we're looking at, with the traditional owners, saying let's pull the whole lot down behind us and let's put vegetation in there, back to where it was. Let's have a look at another diverse economy without going too big, something that we can control and is under our power. I think the most crucial thing for traditional owners is attracting new businesses, and we can only do that projects with investments and guaranteed land tenure in time to come. Currently, there are two pieces of work being undertaken by the Go Futures Group, and the challenge of the first is to excise the land from mining back to ALRA, back to the traditional owners. It takes a fair bit of doing, and we cannot do that individually. We've got to do that across the board with all the divisions. Government, mining, us, it takes a while. And the Northern Land Council plays a crucial role in this. They have two folds in that. I think it's important to know that we are doing the best we can. We can't do it alone. We're positively engaged with governments, with Rio, with the Northern Land Council. But as I said, you can't do this on your own. We have to do it as one. And it cannot be one voice, by the way. It cannot just be the Gumatj doing this. We're just pushing our way. So, have we invested the right way? Well, the video in front of you now, you see, some of you can see, is our equipment that we invested in, quite a number of $1 million, to help pull down the plant. It gives our people great joy, by the way, to see all this being pulled down. They've been wanting to do it for a long, long time, so now they're actually doing it. Luckily enough, with the agreement with Rio and Liberty, we were able to get contracts to put machinery in there worth quite a few $1 million to help do this. But we didn't invest in this machinery just for the pull down. the machinery is invested so that when that's completed, we can also do the rehabilitation. And after the rehabilitation, we can also use the same equipment to use for other projects. So it's not just a one-shop stop. We won't do that. And we certainly won't invest in Indigenous money to do that. I think overall, we've made the right decision of what we're doing with the plant. As I said, a lot of people are quite happy to see it go. A lot of people in town were aghast when the plant was being pulled down. But it has to go. Mining's finished. So let's clean it up. Let's redo it and what we want, and let's start building an economy that we can live with forever. And that's what we're doing. I'm just going to let you watch that video for a couple of seconds because it's a long one. And I'm going to put a video on that I'm not even going to talk about. I want you to listen to it. Some of you have seen it before, but it's important to the traditional owners. It's important that you hear what they're saying on what we're doing. Because this next video is about us mining, about the Gumatj mining their own bauxite, and hopefully, we will continue this for the next 10 to 15 years when Rio's left. We're not 100%, but that's our aim. Why? Because then it still brings in statutory royalty, it still brings in mining royalty, but it employs Indigenous people. It trains Indigenous people. And we don't leave things as they are. Our rehabilitation that we're doing at the moment on the mine, which you're quite welcome to go and have a look, is some of the best that's ever been done. Why? Because we've got the Indigenous people doing it themselves. They know what they want planted and they know want to see what the results are. And I'm trying to avoid talking that way. Should be nearly over. Oh God, how long did I run this thing for? All right, the mining segment should come up any minute if he's just about. Oh, by the way, that's what's left of the plant. You see what's happening there? That is the exact size that's going to be shipped out for every piece of machinery that's in there. The trick is we want to keep what's good and we want to keep what we can use for the economy. If we do that, we're well ahead of the game. If we see no value in it, if we see a liability in it, that's what it's going to look like, scrap. And it's the longest video I've ever shot. Yeah, jump to the next one, why not? Give them something to watch.
Hello and welcome.
Okay, our mining. Why did we start bauxite mining? I think there's volumes. There's music of this.
Gulkula is Australia's first Indigenous-owned and operated bauxite mine. Leveraging our mining capabilities, we have developed into a full-service mining, land, rehabilitation, civil works, concrete and labour hire company. Diverse across age, clan groups, gender, experience and skill set. As a part of our operations, we own, operate and maintain a large fleet of modern mining equipment to mine high-quality bauxite. After the mining process, we have developed leading capabilities in land rehabilitation. Our on-site nursery processes, stores, propagates local seeds. We only use Indigenous seeds, hand-collected from the region to rehabilitate the land back to its original landscape. Our extensive suite of machinery and people capabilities provides us with flexibility to deliver civil works and labour hire of all sizes in all locations. Our workforce has experience across road maintenance, fence buildings, landscaping, machine operating and more. To meet the demand for work, we actively engage, train and develop our Indigenous Yolngu workforce through intensive development programs that focus on self-management, teamwork, health, well-being and on-the-job training. To ensure our workers are ready for work, we accommodate and feed our workforce on site, in addition to delivering and maintaining culturally appropriate HR policies and practices. As a business, our vision is to empower Indigenous and Yolngu progress towards economic independence through exposure, experience on the job training, all through living our values of honesty, reliability and respect.
So we love bauxite. But we love it. We don't love it enough to dig up all this. That's worth quite a bit of money too. So. All right, so look, the next slide, it may shock you, but let me give you a little story behind this. Some time ago, well, the last 50 years that I've been here, we've been talking about a road into Cove. And every time we talk about a road to Cove, it somehow gets more expensive. So now that it's actually progressing and we're starting to see real signs of activities, we're getting bridges built, we look at saying, well, you know, how are we going to help with this? Because building a bitumen road is very difficult in the middle of nowhere. That's 670 odd kilometres of road we've got to do. So we looked at it, and every time, and Jem, where are you? Put your hand up. I'm not having a go at you. There you go. So the government, the intergovernment, comes to us and says, well, it's getting more expensive. And it is, we know that. In building contractors, we know it gets expensive. So we said, and I asked Joe, how are we going to do this? What is the most expensive part? And they said, laterite, rock, water, it's all difficult to get. And it's all expensive. So Jawa and I said, well, why don't we just do something about it? So I'll just show you this little clip of Jawa. And he loves this. Watch. So there's our quarry, there's our cheap rock, Minister, and we're going to get it to you so we can build the damn road. I guess what I'm saying is, now we got onto the tourism video, that's fine. Get on. And we're starting to diversify into tourism. I think what I was saying in that video of the Blast of the Rock is that we're up to the challenges. Tell us what they are. Tell us how we can help, and we'll do it. But if you don't tell us and just keeping roadblocks up, we'll never get there. We're willing to find laterite out there for you. We're willing to work with the Northern Land Council to get laterite, to get the water. And then we'll succeed. But if we do it in individual Chinese walls, it'll never happen. So we're out there to help. And tourism. So let's talk about tourism. We were asked about tourism, so I thought I'd give you a really nice video so that you're relaxed about this. Unfortunately, I wasn't in this again. I'm never in these things. I think there's audio, but I'm not sure. No audio? Okay. So we started off by saying, well, how do we attract people? And I said, well, advertising is always your best bet. And then we said, well, where do we do it? Because it's always difficult working on other countries. You've got to get permission of other traditional owners. And then I said, look, we've got a cattle farm that makes money, but doesn't make a lot of money. We've got a cattle farm that we've got people working on, but not a lot of people. So why not use our big cattle farm and the waterways around the cattle farm and do tourism? So we made this video, and we're going to open the cattle farm up to tourism so they can go on the way into Arnhem Land. I'm not going to stop them coming to Arnhem because it's about 110 kilometres out. But what we want to do is just hold it there. That was quick, short video. To attract. Again, we're not stepping back. We're not specialists in tourism. Gumatj has never even contemplated a first step, but all of a sudden we've got a caravan park being developed. We've got the farm being developed in tourism. So we're working on every avenue. But I have to say, not all will work, but we have to prepare for some of them to collapse, but not take down the whole company. So do it in small pieces. The next one, look, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know too much about it. We bought 51% of this company. So we own it, and we actually got a very nice contract from Rio. Thank you very much, Kellie. I'm still yet to know how it works, but go for it. So we're calling it 4D Borough. It's with Cross Services. We don't know anything about survey, but what do we need for roads? Survey work. What do you need for wharf development or any development? Survey work. So invest in a survey company, and that's what we've done. We haven't got the expertise to do it. By investing in it and having part ownership in it means you can control it a bit. So this is all the things we do on it, and we're starting to build up on it, so that when, and it will happen, Rio eventually leave, we still have a surveying company working for us. And I think that's important. It's a bit flash, this video. I lost it sort of halfway through it and thinking, I don't know what we're doing. But anyway, to be truthful, the survey has come really handy having that company, because we're building schools with it now. We're surveying around roads, around piping work, electrical work. And if we didn't have it, I'd probably be broke and Jawa wouldn't be talking to me again. But we are getting there. It is quite a long video, isn't it? Please don't ask me any questions on this one at the end, because I have no idea. I know these are all side companies that are part of it. That can come in and help us. They're all certified companies. They've all worked with the NT. We're on a little bit of a hope mission here that some of this will be taken up by outside of Gove, not just Nhulunbuy, not just relying on Rio. So we're sort of diversifying in the Darwin. We've got an office in Darwin, we've got an office in Cairns, and both are doing well. We're still trying to sneak up to Weipa, get past the security guys stop. God, you missed my best spot. Okay. So the next one, my wife won't be talking to me after I show you, but we'll get it on done anyway. So, get going. So here's the new adventure for us. You've all heard of NASA. You all know we launched a few years ago. So now there's the next phase. There goes one of our 4 that went up. It quite didn't reach lunar, but it did what it was meant to do. So now we start looking at what else can we do. Now, please understand this. I'm doing this on land that we've mined, so it's brownfield, it's not greenfield. We've already rehabilitated some of it, but we thought, well, why rip up any more when we can use what we've got? So what we intend to do is work with ELA, and this is well into the future. This is not going to happen tomorrow. We're looking at putting up what we call a space industry, where, again, we supply the concrete, the roadwork, the servicing, the buildings and everything else for Arnhem Land, for the future. Now, you might know that Jawa's little boy, he went to, not so long ago, went to the United States. Now, this is all part of the tech gear that they'll be learning. Will it happen quickly? No. Will it happen? I hope so, for the future of the people here. We're not that inclined. Everyone worries about a defence base, like as in the military rockets. They're not. These things are going up to put satellites in the air for you people, not for us. They're up there for the new technology. But they also give the ability to teach here in Arnhem Land, not go to Darwin, not go to Melbourne, not go to Perth, but up here. Because we don't have much. When Rio leaves, right, and they will, we've got Nhulunbuy, but how big Nhulunbuy is, we're not sure. What else is there? So you've got to create the business. If we don't, we're out of luck. It's not going to happen. Look, I thank you for your time. This goes on forever, so we can get rid of that. I'll take questions, but if they're going to be too hard, I'll pass you to my legal. And if I don't know, I'll just make it up. So we've got any questions? There are 3 hands. Go. Oh, that's a Rio question. Okay, but for my own part, look, we've got the Gove Regional Board that's working on how to create industry within the township. I don't think it'll collapse. I don't think it'll be it's got too many good bones in it. You've got good stores, you've got good people. A lot of people want to retire here. It's up to us, though, to find the jobs. So one door shuts, the other door opens. We've just got to be a little bit far thinking. Our real problem is, we know Rio's leaving. We've got to convince punters or investors to invest before they leave, not after they've gone. It's too late. So we're just trying to look. That's about all I can tell you. But we're not giving up hope. We're going to be building new houses there. We've actually got a lot of houses in Nhulunbuy. We think there's a good opportunity to have a growth plan. Personally, I've been here, I don't know, forever, since Well, Helen there knows how long I've been there. She's been there long. Sometime in 1969, and I came here and I lived in a tent at the airport. Well, there wasn't even an airport, there was a strip, right? There was no roads, no town, no nothing. So we built all that. I personally wouldn't mind a bit more fishing time, a bit more fish if you left, but that's me. Any other questions? Come on, I do this every year. People say nothing. Give me a hard one. I don't mind. I've set a couple of bogus ones in there if you really want. None? All right, Kellie, you'll go. Kellie Parker.
Thanks very much, Klaus. It's a hard act to follow. But it's exciting. It's an exciting future. And I've been very privileged to work with Klaus and Jawa on their future. And I'm humbled and deeply grateful to be here today and for the privilege to speak with you. But firstly, I want to acknowledge the Yungal traditional owners of the land, which we meet, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. And I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people on the lands that we have our businesses. I acknowledge the Prime Minister and significant dignitaries, and also want to acknowledge that my boss is here, Jakob Stausholm, Chief Executive of Rio Tinto. Gove was one of the first places he visited when he became Chief Exec, and this is his first Garma experience, and I know he's pleased to be here. Like me, he's looking forward to meeting with many of you. Rio Tinto is a proud partner of Garma, and our thanks go to Denise and the Yothi Yindi Foundation for all they do to bring this important festival to life every year. Thank you also to the Gove Rio Tinto team, and many in the community have been supporting for months on top of their usual jobs, and it's a privilege to be able to do this. The Gove Peninsula is one of the most special places in Australia. It's a special location with special people, and it's a place where culture and songlines remain strong. Mining represents a very small part of the history of the region. Rio Tinto has operated Gove Mine since 2007, and our predecessors for 40 years before that. Later this decade, that chapter will come to an end, and the land will be handed back to the traditional owners so their connection can be re-established. In that sense, the closure of the mine is a new beginning. As we prepare for a future beyond mining, I have seen a deepening of relationships between partners, stakeholders, all built on respect and listening with intent. Everyone is committed to working in partnership to ensure there is a strong future in this region. A lot of this work is through the landmark Gove Peninsula's Future Reference Group, where, since 2019, the traditional owners, the Northern Territory Government and the Northern Land Council and the federal government have been working towards the traditional owners' vision for the future. A great strength of the reference group is that the traditional owners are the ultimate decision makers. The vision is theirs. Every time I visit here, I can feel the enthusiasm from local elders as they plan for the future. The rehabilitation of the mine is a significant economic opportunity for the traditional owners, and they are seizing it in so many innovative ways that Klaus just described. With their help, we have commenced one of the largest environmental rehabilitation projects in history. Every day, we have over 350 people exclusively doing remediation work on site. 9,000 trees will be planted over the next 10 years. One of the larger and more visual mine closure projects is a demolition of the refinery, which was in Klaus's speech as well. Since last December, I joined Jawa and Gumatj for the commencement of the ceremony with our demolition partner, Liberty Industrial. It's a significant project. In fact, the work of the refinery is currently the largest demolition project in the Southern Hemisphere. To give you an idea of the size, it's the equivalent of dismantling 3 Sydney Harbour bridges. The Gumatj are integral to what we are doing in this refinery. They are also the decision makers on what refinery assets will stay into the future, how they may be used for other economic opportunities in the region. Their business arm is also supplying equipment for the demolition, as you saw in the video. It's yet another new business venture for Gumatj, who plan to use the equipment in other projects. It's exciting to see the initial sections of the refinery come down, and I know Gumatj are eager to see the site return to them. We're also partnering with Rio Tinto to remediate the tailings facility. They are leading the work to revegetate the final landform and are also providing rock from their quarry. Like Gumatj, they are looking ahead and investing in the future of the economy in Gove. To help ensure the region's power needs for the future beyond mining, we are working with traditional owners to install the 10 megawatt solar power over the next 12 months. This will be clean and affordable source of power and be part of the site that is handed over to Gumatj and Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto spends about $50 million a year with Indigenous business at Gove across areas like earthworks and construction, heritage services, environmental and land rehabilitation services. Gumatj have developed a remarkable range of business capabilities and are working on innovative new strategic business opportunities. We are a proud customer of the Gulkula mine, which is owned and operated by Gumatj. It's a clear demonstration of Yolngu capability and innovation. Importantly, the future is going to require investment in Yolngu skills and education. Let me share a small example of how the future can look if we continue to develop the best foundations for the generations to come. I recently visited Dupamabaka School at Gunyagara. On a beautiful, clear day, I was warmly welcomed by the children. They shared stories with me, and their excitement was contagious. Currently, the children are learning in a temporary facility. And Rio Tinto has committed $4 million towards building a new, permanent and purpose-built space for them as part of our commitment to supporting a thriving and prosperous community. The buildings will also support as a community centre and cyclone shelter, and it's going to have an excellent viewing of the footy field. During my visit, I was privileged to help them turn the first sod for the new school buildings with Jawa and Philip Heath from Barker College. We shared our hopes for the future of the college, the region, and the critical importance of education to a prosperous future. It was a joy-filled and emotional milestone to be part of it with the children. And we're honoured to be part of this education partnership that the community is leading. Regardless of how we measure ourselves, ultimately success is measured by our stakeholders and the social and environmental outcomes we achieve. It's critical that we continue to be transparent and open, and the traditional owner partners are making the decisions for the future beyond. On a personal note, I've made many partnerships and indeed friendships during my time at Gove, and it is my hope to remain connected to those friends and partners beyond closure and long into the future. The future is very bright, and I remain committed to be partners in this region and continuing to listen with intent. I'll pass on to Jonathan.
But firstly, just wish to acknowledge Gumatj as the landowners, their elders past and present, and thank them for their good ways and hospitality. For me, that's been over many years. And also wish to acknowledge the many other Yolngu nations that are from the East Arnhem and all over Australia that are here, and as well as all the visitors that come every year. There's a few people far and wide just looking around and having a yarn with you. It's a magical place, and we're blessed to be here. I work for the Northern Land Council, which is one of 4 Aboriginal land councils. It's a statutory authority, and it's got an elected representative body made up of 78 members nominated by their community, plus 5 co-opted women's members. Our key responsibilities include assisting Aboriginal people to acquire and manage their lands and seas. I might be talking too quick, eh? Oh. As I said before, East Arnhem Land is a special place, and Yolngu have been here since the beginning of time. Our Yolngu leaders have played a pivotal role in the land rights movement. The Yirrkala Bark petition, the Gove Land Rights case, the passing of the Aboriginal Land Rights Act, and the Blue Mud Bay decision on the intertidal zone. It's also the 50th year of the Northern Land Council. Mine-based economy. It's pretty important, mining in the Northern Territory. It's about 35% of the gross state product. And mining in Nhulunbuy has been occurring for 50 plus years. And local, regionally, it's one of the biggest employers of people, and it's about 50% of all the economic activity in the region. Yulungu connection to country spans 3,000 plus generations as landowners and custodians. The bauxite mine on Yulungu country has been operational for 2 to 3 generations and will close by 2030. NLC's role moving forward will be about activating land and sea rights for traditional owners. The term activating land rights was first used by Unipingu, NLC's former long-serving chairman, to describe the journey of Aboriginal people benefiting from our rights and interests over land and sea country. That old man was one of our heroes, from growing up, and it's just an honour to be here. NLC's engagement with the landowners. It is essential that traditional owners' aspirations and visions for their country are front and centre. On learning that the mine would close over the next decade, traditional owners had discussions and worked with stakeholders, and they discussed what they wanted beyond mining. In 2020, Gumatj and Rio Tinto traditional owners launched a new journey together, the traditional owners' vision for the future of the Gove Peninsula. If you're interested, this is it, and it can be found, I'm told, at the Rio Tinto and the Northern Territory Government areas. And if you've got your phone handy, you can look on the internet. The traditional owner's vision, well, it's kind of simple. Our vision is to rejuvenate the region. It will be a place for us to share our culture and a business and service hub for all of Arnhem Land. We'll work together to create a stronger and more secure future for generations of Yulungu and Napaki to come. Recognition of traditional owners, Yulungu and Napaki together, connecting with culture and country, a diverse economy, Nhulunbuy as a service hub, infrastructure ready for the future, town, communities and homelands strong together. The Gove Peninsula Futures Reference Group is made up of some key agencies, traditional owners, Rio Tinto, Gumatj, Rio Tinto, Northern Territory Government, the Australian Government and the Northern Land Council. And their job is to champion the realisation of the vision through 6 working streams, which is Yulungu and Napaki together, land tenure, economic development and transition, essential services and infrastructure, community and government services, and town governance. Oh, I got the wrong way. Nhulunbuy as a service hub. Nhulunbuy, from a regional perspective, it's important. Although not a lot of the traditional owners reside in the township, they recognise it is critically important as a business, service and social hub for a significantly greater region. All these young fellas tell me this is where the football's played. 8,000 plus Yulungu reside in East Arnhem Land, in 6 large Aboriginal communities and 50 plus homelands. There's a map there and there's a couple of maps at the front here which kind of provides you a list of all those homelands. There are a significantly large number of clan estate groups throughout the region, and also provides support services to Groote Island, where another 2,000 Aboriginal people reside. Our Yulungu population continues to grow quite quickly. On a regional context with the Northern Land Council, economic development, we have 246 land use agreements across 1,263 land parcels. 36% of those land use agreements are with Indigenous operators, and we have the big mine that's operating at present. Our future activities include significant consultation work, the mine closure and rehabilitation works, more land proposals, new projects, and the Central Arnhem Road project, which Klaus spoke about. The NLC, we have a regionalisation strategy. We want to put our services closer to our people, and our regionalisation strategy is called Building the Bush. Luckily, just recently, NLC have secured some funds to establish a purpose-built facility over the next 2 years. We currently have 6 staff based in Nullarbor, and by the end of the year, we're aiming to have 9 and envisage about 12 by the time we complete the new building. And this is critical for us to support the important work that we have with traditional owners for advocating land and sea rights. The Northern Land Council and its subsidiary companies have been involved in projects and supporting projects throughout the region for a while. And I'm just going to go through some of these with Gumatj and Rio Tinto. The Gunningara Township lease became the first township lease held by a traditional owner corporation. That was after many months of discussions with traditional owners, their neighbours and affected groups. And the result of this is some quick decision making for that area. That map shows you the area of the township lease. Also, Delta Reef Gumatj is in the construction arm is 100% owned by Gumatj and is involved in building Indigenous houses and so many public sector clients. They have significantly higher levels of employment for Indigenous people, and it's all part of their supply chain. The Gulkula mine, another project we spent many months consulting over throughout the region. The Gulkula Mining Company was established in 2011 and started its operations in 2017. It's the world's first Indigenous owned and operated bauxite mine. The Arnhem Space Centre, and this is innovation at its best. With a partnership with Equatorial Launch Australia, they established the Arnhem Space Centre. In 2022, they had 3 launches with NASA, and as Klaus went through, there's plans for expansion to support a large number of launches per year. With Rio Tinto Investments, about 20 years ago, they created the Malpe Village, and there's 26 homes with high quality housing that was secured long-term leases with Australian and Northern Territory government. They've got a fuel enterprise, which initially started with providing Rio Tinto 20 million litres of fuel per annum. They've accelerated their mining around country here, and that's been good for Rio Tinto fuel because they've had to nearly double what they've had to provide. Profits from the company contributes to building wealth and sustainability for the post-mining operations. In Rio Tinto, they have a mining area as well with some blue metal quarry, and they've provided tens of thousands of tonnes to Rio Tinto for rehabilitation projects. They've also been involved in the rehabilitation projects at Red Mud Pond 4, their capping projects, and are successfully working with YBE Neil, one of the oldest Yulungu contracting businesses in the region. They work closely with the Ridginga Indigenous business crew that provides garden maintenance and associated services to over 100 Rio Tinto properties and maintains the 26 house properties at the Malpe Village. NLC will continue to work with traditional owners throughout East Arnhem Land so we can assist the region in providing a sustainable community and economies. So that. Thank you.
Any questions for Jonathan? I think it has a major role in all of it. I mean, you just take education for a minute for our younger ones. We're still busily building schools and getting kids to school to understand about jobs and education. But I think we can't leave any of that behind. But we've got to get a base. We've got to know timing and dates. Otherwise, you can't do it. It's no good going to government and say, well, one day we will. You've got to go to government and say, this is when it's going to happen and what are we going to do? It's no good getting Rio to tell me that we're closing. If I don't know, well, how do I invest when I don't know when you're in closing? So it's all to do with stepping stones and dates. But we're all, NTG, Federal, NLC, Rio Tinto, we're all working on this together. This is not an easy basket because, and I hate to use this word, dodging it, symbionics are very dangerous when you leave a mining company, leave a major town. It is a core. So what we're trying to do is build the root system out from that so it doesn't collapse inward, as many mining towns have. But remember, Gove started off as a mine and then ended up as a regional development service supply area, and that's what it did. Gove Hospital was not built for Rio, it was built for the region. The airport was developed for the region. So what we're trying to do is build that system out, the balance system, or if you like, a foundation work that no matter what starts to collapse, we're somehow going to save some of it. We won't save all of it. The town will reduce in numbers, but it may not be that drastic. But you've got to give the town hope. You've got to give the people hope, otherwise they'll give up. You can't do that. You can't. Even as CEO with my board, I'll go in there every time absolutely 100 positive. I'll come out drained, I know, but I'll go in positive. Because if we don't, we'll give up hope. And you can't do that. Not in Arnhem Land, we're too isolated. I mean, you people are great, you come here, but then you're gone. We live here, we've got to deal with this every single day. And it doesn't matter whether it's Gunyagara, Yukala, whether it's the homelands. Some of the people in this audience, I might add, have got a lot of history of working with traditional owners, and they're still here. And they are the backbone or the core that keeps it going a lot of times. Because you start losing that intelligence and you start always rewinding. And please forgive me, Rio, we don't turn over people like mining companies. We stay here, as the traditional owners have always stayed here. We're just supporting them. I hope that answers some of it. I should have become a politician, shouldn't I? No. No. Thank you.